Hi guys, welcome to another section of finance tutor. Today we want to look at another topic in chemistry, which is separation techniques. In chemistry, there are various ways by which we can separate matter when they are mixed together. And when we say matter, we are talking about solid, liquid, or gaseous states. So if these matters are mixed together to form a mixture, there is always a way for us to separate this mixture. So the various method or the approach we use to separate this mixture is what we regard to as separation techniques. So we have different methods of separation techniques. We have the filtration, we have the evaporation to dryness, we have the use of separating funnel, distillation, precipitation, crystallization, sublimation, chromatography, magnetization, and sieving. We still have some other methods too that we can use, but I will limit myself to the first four we have in this section. So before we move further, let me say a little thing about the meaning of separation techniques. Separation techniques are those techniques that can be used to separate two different states of matter, such as liquid and solid. Now, what does that mean to you? Let's say, for instance, you add salt to water. The salt is the solid, the water is your liquid. So the mixture of those two matters will form what we call a salt solution. Assuming you want to recover back your salt from that solution, there is a way to go about it. So the way we go about it is what we call the separation techniques. So let's look at some of this method. First, let's talk about filtration. Filtration is one of the separation techniques that can be used to separate solid from liquid. Now look at the illustration we have here. This is our container. The beaker above is the container where we have the mixture, and as you can see in this illustration, we have solid and we have liquid that form that particular mixture. So now we want to separate the component of that mixture. What do? We get a funnel. The funnel is suspended on a retorт stand. Can you see the retort stand? And we also have inside the funnel, we have a filter paper. So also we have below the funnel another beaker, which is the receiving container. So when we pour the mixture into the filter paper. The filter paper is like a semi-permeable membrane that can allow the passage of certain molecules. So we expect that only the water, that is the liquid, will pass through the filter paper, leaving the solid behind on the filter paper. So what you will expect to have below here, that is inside the receiving beaker, is your water, that is the liquid, and we call it the filtrate. And what is left on the filter paper is the solid, which we also call the residue. So that is also a method used in separation techniques. Other examples where you can use filtration is maybe when you want to extract components of a plant, be it vegetable or any other plant. Even at home, when maybe you wash your vegetable and you want to make use of the water extract without having any traces of the vegetable, you can make use of filtration. So let's go to the next one, which is evaporation to dryness. Now, in the case of evaporation to dryness, I would like to cite an example here. Let's take for instance that you mistakenly add too much salt. You mistakenly add too much salt in a raw rice. That means you pour salt in a raw rice and you wish to recover your salt back, what can you do? You can carry out this separation method that we call evaporation to dryness. So the step involves you pouring water into the mixture containing the salt and the rice. You will know that the salt will dissolve in the water, but the rice will not dissolve. So after you have poured water into the mixture to dissolve the salt, you now filter the mixture. As you can see in this illustration we have here, this is the funnel, and what you have inside there is your solid and your water and your salt. So the solid here is salt and rice. I'm using rice as an example here as the solid, and I'm also using salt as an example as the solid. So you have three parts of the mixture: rice, salt, and water. So since the salt will dissolve in the water, it is expected that we will have salt solution in our conical flask here. So the blue portion you have here, is the salt solution, and what you expect to have left on the filter paper is your rice. So you can just add more water to wash off completely the salt that might stick around the rice. So now, having done that, we can now take the salt solution that we know that contains only the salt and the water. We can pour that salt in maybe another container that we can eat. So you have the source of it. This second illustration we have here, the second illustration here is the source of it. So by the time we start eating this salt solution, there's going to be evaporation. So the water molecule will evaporate, leaving behind your salt. So in such a way, you have recovered your salts from that mixture, and that's what we call evaporation to dryness. So let's also look at another method of separation, which is the use of separating funnel. From what you can see in this illustration, this is the funnel. This one we have here is a funnel, and what we have here is our receiving container. Separating funnel, they are used to separate immiscible liquids. So what do we mean by immiscible liquids? That is, liquids that doesn't mix together. For instance, when you pour maybe your palm oil in water, it doesn't mix. You will see that the palm oil will float on top while the water will be below. So it is expected that the liquid with high density should be below, while the liquid with low density should be on top. So that tells you that when you have a mixture of palm oil and water, and your water is below and the oil is above, that means that the oil has a low density and the water has high density. So how do we separate? Now, in this method of separation, you pour the mixture in the separating funnel. The separating funnel has a tap. So before you pour the mixture, you lock the tap and you then pour the mixture. So after you must have poured the mixture, you can now open the tap slightly in such a way that the mixture will start dropping gradually. So you keep on releasing the mixture until it gets to the layer. As you can see, there's a layer here. So that layer separates the two mixtures. So once it gets to the layer where it separates the upper mixture, then you can as well lock the tap, so you collect in fraction. Maybe you are taking the water first, then you later collect another fraction for the oil. So that is all about the use of separating funnel. It is used to separate immiscible liquids, that is, liquids that cannot mix together. This is another illustration showing how to use a separating funnel. So lastly, let's look at simple distillation, the use of simple distillation to separate mixture. Simple distillation, they are used to separate mixture based on boiling point. That is, if we have a mixture of ethanol and water together, they are miscible liquid. This now we are dealing with miscible liquids. Ethanol and water will mix together. So there is a way we can separate them. Ethanol has a different boiling point. Water has a different boiling point. Boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius. Boiling point of ethanol is 78 degrees Celsius. So now with the knowledge of this boiling point, we can separate them. So what do? This is an illustration showing the setup of simple distillation apparatus. In this, you can see that we have our heat source, we have our round bottom flask, we also have a thermometer. This is our thermometer. We have the condenser. This is our condenser, and we also have our receiver. So now what happens is that once you pour your mixture into the round bottom flask, in this case, let's say a mixture containing ethanol and water. By the time you start eating, once it gets to the boiling point of ethanol, that is the one with the lower temperature, once it gets to that boiling point, there is going to be a release of vapor, and this vapor will pass through the condenser and it gets condensed. So once it gets condensed, it turns back to liquid. So, and this liquid is received here in our receiver. The liquid received here, we call it the distillate. So we can now collect that as a separate fraction and keep on boiling till it gets to 100 degrees Celsius, which is the boiling point of water. So in simple distillation, it makes use of the differences in boiling point to separate mixture. So I believe we have made justification to separation techniques. By now you understand what separation techniques is all about, and at home you can easily carry out simple separation techniques method using the filtration method to do some little separation techniques. Thank you for watching this video. Keep watching Fairness Tutor. Subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and share to your friends. Till we meet again next section, I remain Fairness.